From Matt. Hello, part 2 of the Punter Show.
This is a nice email. Good on you, Matt. I enjoyed reading this.
Just a quick comment on the tournament for today's show. I'd like to firstly thank you for introducing me to Top Better through your partnership and spruiking on the various shows you have each week.
We've got someone to thank us for spruiking.
Thank you. I think the concept is fantastic and I am a regular player of the tournaments.
Good.
I'm a small-time punter who has a full-time job and spends an extra 20 plus hours a week doing the form and absorbing punting related content such as your shows and articles simply because I love it.
Isn't that what you want to hear?
That's exactly what
So it's just a good part of their life away from work.
Well, you've got probably...
And get you away from the business too.
You're probably going to look for the amount of content we've got coming through. You probably need 30 or 40 hours a week.
Yeah, let's go.
I've found your shows and content incredibly educational and my returns have increased over time by implementing the lessons I've learned from your stuff.
And a lot of that's from you, Mark.
Yes.
You're the teacher.
The true turning point for the week, and getting the beard back too, the true turning point for me over the weekend was using race speed profiles to really nail the Sydney and Melbourne cards. Jasoni, Termi, Loose, Bow, Creed and Meersalt all seen morals from the RSP data graphs, and so it proved. Well done Dal, well done Vince.
Well done J Mac for throwing that horse over the line in the last.
Yeah, that was quite an exciting finish, wasn't it? That was good.
Holy fuck. Huey said this race is mine, and J Mac went, fuck you.
After we should get on the week 2 weeks ago anyway.
Yeah, after all that I finished 6th in the 100k tournament and pocketed 2.48k, my biggest ever win. Even better was I didn't rebuy and got my ticket by finishing top 100 the week before, turning $55 into $2,500 essentially.
Wow.
It's not life-changing, but it's now closer to 2 fortnights of my post-tax salary than one. Thanks for the wonderful services and content, gents. Good on you, mate.
Great story.
That's a really good story, Matt, and just shows you that there's value in playing certain things and playing certain ways and using, you know, the punts. It keeps people at work too, because it's a great.
It's a great interest. No, not even an escape.
Peter Zeddy was a mate of mine at the Dogs 30 years ago. He goes to the Dogs Saturday and Monday night, and I'll tell you, go and Pete, he goes, I feel like coming out here. He goes, it's an escape from like bills and misses.
Yeah,
but also, you know, like you know how popular, say, digital games are, video games. You know, kids get into it, they get right. They become engaged by those things, and that's when you get entertained. You know, entertainment is when time flies. Yeah. That's being entertained, and that's what this stuff can be as well. And everyone forgets that. They go, "Oh, we'll just get out there on the drink." You know, that's entertainment. That's not fucking entertainment. That's piddling the time away.
Drowning your sorrows.
Just like
about your sad life.
Yourself in it.
Saturating yourself by your sad life of not being on the punt.
That's not entertainment, is it?
No.
Just passing the time.
I mean, I'm not in a great financial position in life, as we all know, but I've been entertained my entire life.
That's a fair point.
How fast does the time go when you are actually into something?
When you're trying to kill yourself at 55, it works out well.
From Kyle. Hi guys, I just read the article about Winona being asked to leave for security. 9 years ago a similar incident happened with my partner at the time and I had a midweek meeting at Warwick Farm. I was 19 at the time. I was just thinking about the story about old mate just having a piss at Rose.
No, yeah, good, just keep going.
Not getting kicked.
I know, it's just, well.
Not really, I think different rules Wednesdays to Saturdays, isn't it? I was 19 at the time, my partner was 17. It would have been a good look, wouldn't it? With the parents' permission, I took her to Warwick Farm.
To Warwick Farm?
On a Wednesday, as I was trying to get her interested in an industry that I love.
We're laughing at something else. So.
We weren't drinking as I drove, and after about the third race, my partner came back to the table with a security guard who asked to see my ID. I produced my ID for him to say because my girlfriend was 17, she must be accompanied by a responsible adult. When I asked them who or what they consider a responsible adult, they told me someone who is at least 25.
That might make the rules.
Yeah, fair enough. I then asked what they would they still consider a 25-year-old person responsible if they were wearing a t-shirt with a drug reference on it, which they couldn't respond. This went back and forth for a good 5 minutes before they started escorting us from the course.
Hey, mature
after they said she's being removed from the course, you can stay if you like. I asked to speak to a manager several times, to which I was refused. Yeah, reasoning seems to be really good. I was then manhandled through the booking ring outside after requesting to speak to a manager again. As I was working for a Warwick Farm trainer at the time, I knew a back entry to the course, which I was able to get back inside. On doing so, I walked straight to the office and requested to speak to a manager, in which I did. This manager rang my parents and they mentioned she had permission from me, that they had permission from her parents that she be with me, that she could be with me. I then spoke to the police on the course, to which they mentioned I can tell just talking to you that you're not going to cause any problems. You're well dressed and spoken, so I don't have an issue with her coming back inside. She came back onto the course, but it was very awkward. It was the security guards looking and laughing at us the entire time. I had a couple of bookies I bet with at the time who I was embarrassed to approach, as they'd seen me escorted a short time before. I still work in the gambling industry, but not in racing. I haven't set foot on a city metropolitan racetrack since the incident. As we said, the point of my story is that the same issue was being looked into 9 years ago, and we now have the same problem. They want people to attend meetings, but why would they when the heavy-handed security guards that are employed by the ATC? The matter needs serious addressing, as if everyone continues, there won't be anyone left on the court besides Glenn, but we've been threatened to be kicked off as well too, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for
it's an awful and ugly story.
Yeah, exactly right, and that could be probably
so
told
9 years ago. Yeah, he's 19 times, so he's 28 now. And
I feel sick hearing that story.
The chick's 26 now. They're obviously kids then or whatever. They're probably not a couple anymore. They have memories of I once went to the races, and for no reason I got asked to leave, and I felt like a dick.
We might start asking them when the parade is passed at Rose Hill. Now, will you be back? Will you be back? Will your friends be back? And that's probably 10 people who won't come back.
Exit poll.
Yeah, exit poll as you're being escorted out. But we'd probably get thrown out for doing that. Timmy, no, you can't breathe without the Manning Yard mail, but interested to know how Glenn would approach his punting if he could only use the form and not view the Manning Yard.
Oh, well, I think the way my career would be is I wouldn't be in the game, to be honest. I don't think my form is as modern or as clever as a lot of blokes, and I think the Manning Yard keeps me in the game. I think I'd be just another bloke out there.
You're saying that's your edge.
I don't think I'd have the tools to survive all this time.
And you know what, it's interesting, isn't it? You know, like going and watching the horses parade, I'd be the same. If there was, I think.
I think I'd still have a bed.
You would feel very naked, eh?
Well, I'd probably be in a business or something. I'd set something up and I'd probably work, and I'd probably bring killing myself forward from 55 to 45, so I probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah, beautiful. Scott asked horses to follow. Any thoughts on Spanish Stride? Can it get to a derby?
So I did see it make some ground like the other day in that race.
Yeah, but what about Daisy's Joy? She did impossible. It was an interesting race.
This race was
self-esteem's race last week.
My advice is, if you're on 100 stone hunters, because you couldn't possibly take 50 Spanish Stride.
Right, but it's just sat rails midfield. You know, Peggy's Cove sat in front of it on the rails and finished astern just behind it. You know, I suppose it's found the line.
It did do something to the eye that I thought was odd. I know what you're saying. I would say, going forward to a derby, I just couldn't even imagine. But the derby does get weaker every year.
Where's the derby?
I mean, I've been mitigating last year's derby. It raced at Alice Springs on the weekend.
Matthew Taylor emailed that in. Matthew Taylor.
That was funny.
Matt Taylor.
Hashtag get out. That was funny.
Yeah, Matt Taylor mentioned I just seen mitigators in later at Alice Springs. Do we know how it went, Glenn?
I didn't put it up.
No.
I was so embarrassed to.
Anyway, well, Northern Territory derby still on the way. Tim said, poor Aaron Macy has a holiday and goes from previewing Group 1 Saturdays to benchmark 65 midweeks. Come on, Dallas, put him back in first grade as I'm suffering from BZ overload on your website.
BZ been doing too much?
First pot for BZ on the site, yeah.
Well, he did tip Charlie Boy on the previous show, so I think he gets another week.
He mentioned El Duke the week
No, well, I was going to say, and also to BZ on the previous show, which Aaron and BZ will have online probably about 5 o'clock-ish on a Tuesday afternoon for the midweek meeting in Sydney. BZ did tip El Duke at 80s or something like that.
Become the king.
I mentioned it before on the show. He's an underrated jockey, Rory Hutchings.
Mm?
Yeah, good rider.
There you go.
I like him.
John said, I was wondering if you could bring it up on the punter show as a warning to punters. I recently deposited $500 into my Sportsbet account, and then I was looking through my account details. I noticed I only had $68 in the withdrawable amount. So I contacted them about it, and they said, anyone who puts cash in cannot withdraw until it has been turned over once.
Huh?
I knew this was the case in bonus bets, but it seems now to be any deposit amount. Sounds rough to me. But bettors may want to know and put smaller lots in for the day. Time goes, John.
We spoke about this before. Remember, we spoke about the time Sean Bartholomew put all the money into the tab because they were starting betting at 9 o'clock or something.
Yeah, I do recall.
And they said, oh, look, you're only going to be able to have a $50 bet maximum or whatever, and you can't get your 20,000 back out because it has to be turned over. Well, we spoke about this.
Yeah,
we have spoken about this.
Look. Maybe it might be due to, because I know a lot of the rules do come from above what is in the racing industry. Like all the identification is from an anti-terrorism law. So it might be something to do with not using your well, if it's a cash deposit, if it's a transfer from your bank, it's probably fine. Maybe if it's a credit card, then you've got to do that.
So you're not using it as your money. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's just something that seems to be in the legislation. I've heard about it before.
It seems wrong, doesn't it?
Doesn't.
Bevan said, agree completely with Glenn.
He's a clever man, this Bevan.
Stewards cannot be definite that a horse may or may not have won a race. In most cases, if interference in a dead heat would be fair to all participants.
It makes sense.
In the case on Saturday, I consider it was very unfair as the protester had clearly hit the lead after the alleged interference and was then run down. Keep up the good work, Bevan. That's obviously back
Bevan,
to
I agree. Like, you agree with me, but dead heat seem a really good option in some protests.
I agree, sir.
Okay, what about a golden slipper? You win a golden slipper, you and me, wins by a head. Bloke comes in, he said, we just moved out, it cost me a head.
And
but you're saying dismiss?
Both of them colts.
Okay, well let's say it cost me a neck. The stewards go, gee, we think it cost you some interference. We don't think it's a neck, we think it might be a head. Well, hang on, he beat me a head. Both of them colts. Now one's about to be worth 70 million, one's about to be worth 3. 70
lies with the...
But isn't that a great commentary on how ludicrous this breeding industry is? That a horse that might be beaten that much, and I mentioned this before with Wanted, you know, part of the stud deal was Wanted winning a Group 1 race. Now, him winning a Group 1 race or whatever doesn't make his sport any better, or it doesn't make him a faster horse, does it? It just helps with advertising.
When you put a mare to a Golden Slipper winner,
yeah,
or put a mare to a Golden Slipper place getter, do you really remember many Golden Slipper place getters?
No, that's right, but I mean, they were beaten this far. That horse might have been totally unlucky, held up the whole way down the straight, and it was beaten this far. Yeah, that one's worth 20 million, that one's worth 5 million. That just goes to show the machinations of the breeding industry.
I like when you use the word machination.
Machination?
Yeah,
see what he hasn't said lately. Navesh.
Navesh has been away. Navesh is back.
You fucking love Navesh.
He's a good man, Navesh. Well, he's one official that I do.
From Craig, big thanks to me, eh? For my
big thanks to your stories last week about toughness on the punt. Put my pain into some perspective. Any chance from you and me, Mark, this week? Or next week, or whenever it was.
I don't think
I thought about it. I thought Saturday was a pretty good one last week when I backed the two horses in the first race. One didn't pick his feet up, the other one died. I thought that's pretty. That came to mind straight away. That's a pretty good split. That is a Glen split, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and the other one I thought of was the Superfectors. You know, when it was out on course, I was probably only 15 at the time.
Yeah.
And I've had first, second, third, fifth, sixth, fourth. In Blanc. Guaranteed
Jeez,
200 at the time or something like that.
Yeah, the pills were seeded.
Yeah, I think it was whatever it was. Imagine that as a 15-year-old.
Wow.
Yeah, so first, second, third, fifth run fourth, sixth runs fifth, fourth run sixth.
And you went Blanc.
Well, it was only a 15-year-old. You have $1 on it.
Yeah, look,
it was $1.
There it is.
There it was.
You might have been able to get that. For legal reasons.
Don't.
I can't. But you might have found a TAA bag with Mr. Cole Tidy, RAP.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to collect it. Thankfully, I insisted it.
I would have handled it.
I would have been out with Chinese Dave. Would have been there with me at that time.
For legal reasons. The commission you would have received, I would have kept, but I could have handled the transaction.
Anyway, that was one that came to mind for me.
Yeah, that's a good story.
It's a pretty good beat. It's only 200.
From Plenty, BZ, push for El Doodle and West Africa. We mentioned that.
We did that. Sidbet tweeted in only coverage of Winks in Melbourne paper. Hashtag core best horse in Australia. Melbourne versus Sydney should be back page. That's how much it got. But that's common in Melbourne.
Racing journalism, full stop, is.
But this isn't a.
What about? I went up to the coffee shop on Saturday morning, and I haven't seen the telly for a long time. But I opened up the telly. Ray Thomas has written 99% of every word, of the words in that entire lift out.
Yeah.
Like there's, I don't know, 10 stories in there. Ray Thomas has written a lot.
He does work, doesn't he, Ray?
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is there's no other journalists.
Yeah, Nick Ashman's no good.
But there's only a few. Why have we got like 100 journalists?
Well, because racing's become irrelevant. I reckon we're lucky to have 2 racing journalists actually with the Telegraph.
Well, Nick...
Where was Nick on the week?
I know Nick has Friday off. So
That's Friday off.
That's his day off. That's Nick's day off.
So the 8-page Saturday lift out or 12-page Saturday lift out or whatever.
Ray, do your best.
Why doesn't he just have Monday and Tuesday?
I don't know. That's how it's structured. I don't know. I'm not an editor at the Telegraph.
So there was one story about the trots that Ray didn't write.
Who wrote it?
Some guy.
What the paper needs to do to get out of the race course and get real people to write articles like From Para.
Fucking
from David, history mate. Just saw T Griffin have a bet. Welcome to the club, Terry. I didn't see him.
You see T? Did you?
No. It's
David
well spotted.
I think sometimes he might help with the association he works with throwing some money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. From Matt Duller, we mentioned about Matt with Mitigate, and then Tommy Berry's comments. It was a long time between wins. Oh yeah, he said that the other day.
Yeah, you got to tell this story, Glenn, because you rang me and asked for me
so
to tweet
at
this.
Beaumont last Tuesday, we got a Tuesday meeting on tomorrow at Beaumont, but last Tuesday
we got that dirty, filthy horse home.
Gender Bean.
It's just legless.
Paul Perry.
And then the after race comment says it's been a long time since it's won. I rang Double and said, can you tweet that it was a maiden? It's a lovely race horse. And the reason it's been a long time since it's won because it's never won before. But we hear it all the time. And I mean, maybe sometimes as racing people we pick out the stupid comments and they're I mean, Tommy's riding in Hong Kong yesterday. He's a busy, tired young man.
Yeah, of course. No,
it's no big go at Tommy. It's just a funny comment.
It is.
But also it's symptomatic of the way that we get analysis in racing now.
No one even picks up on
shit.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think it was Mitch Manners during the week that we think that Lady Marcel's was going around. Lady Marcel's, listen, Lady Marseille.
Oh yeah,
Miss Marseille.
He's got a few that he...
Miss Marcel's, it's Miss Marseille. There's an I in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well you've been to Marseille, haven't you?
I'll have to quick note
had to get back to Warwick Farm. Duff said it sounds like the day that James Innes came back at Warwick Farm and said this is a certainty at 1400 metres after he just contested a 1400 metre race.
That's
what we might
see. Other classics. The other, I don't remember the jockeys, but he got beaten 3/4 of a length and protested. And the first he said that horse cost me at least half a length.
Yeah, Thomas Hewitt, remember that?
He got beaten.
Yeah, because I think Thomas Hewitt forgot that it was a relegation.
Thanks very much for your evidence. Protest dismissed.
Yeah, because Thomas Hewitt, because he thought it was a relegation rule. Yeah. And they spent the protest here. He explained to me what the rules of racing were.
He's the Ray got quite.
Right. Well, you're probably told it. Just on that, we might do a fun topic during the week via social media. The best cliches, like you hear about coming back from the jockeys, I didn't handle the track. Just a list of cliches and maybe some of those, if you can remember some of those funnier comments, like Tommy Berry's, like James Innes's there, if you can think of some of the good ones, it does
seem to be a who's who of cliche comments when you're reading the stewards reports, which I know you would always do and I do, and they drag him in, they go, get him in, he's grabbed that horse, and they go, well, at the 800 the horse just didn't train. It's just the same.
Yeah, that's right.
It's almost like...
And the acceptance of the cliches from the stewards. They'll get fed a cliche, good as gold.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the end of part 2.
That is.